Do you remember the jingle you used to hear when you start your PlayStation up? It always makes me smile to hear that, so let's look at how you can emulate all those old games. Welcome back, ladies, gents, Pikachus and retro gamers. What you're looking at here is a little emulation console, a Windows-based PC with AMD architecture in there, and it's to play PS1, PS2, N64 games, this kind of thing, Nintendo DS, Wii games, even Switch games at a push, although they're not. I'm not going to include that because I haven't got that working perfectly yet. But everything else before that and up to that, it does really well. So let's have a look at this. Now, due to the copyright and the legalities of some of the software, I can tell you the software name. I use Batocera, and I use Balena Etcher, and I use just stuff out of Windows. But if you need to know the ins and outs of that and you can't figure it out, get in touch with me separately and I'll tell you, but I can't actually put it in the video. So anyway, back to the flipping awesome emulation console. Let's go back to that. Now, what you're looking at here is a £300 PC off Amazon, a £22 controller. This was 20 quid, but it came with a free mouse, which I'm not using here. I've got that off somewhere else. I had this already knocking around, so I didn't pay for that. And I think this was £108 or 118, that was it. So altogether, you're looking at just under 500 quid. And that's before you've actually done any work on it. It's going to take you 3 or 4 hours to set the thing up as well. I say work, what I really mean is pressing buttons and plugging in little cables and things like that, and it's busy work if you don't know what you're doing. You have to read a lot, but I mean, I find it fun, so it's not really work for me, and I learned how to do it really well. You're probably looking at this thinking, why is that worth 500 quid? And it is kind of pricey if you're only going to use it for emulating old games. But the way I look at it is this. Because it perfectly emulates and plays all these old games, the original copy, you know, the disc copy with the original music and none of the recent bullcrap added onto it, if you were to go out and buy a brand new Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, Saturn, Dreamcast, N64, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 and Xbox and Wii and Switch, if you were to go out and buy all of those new, it's going to cost you a lot more than 500 quid. But that's what you're doing when you buy all this stuff, because you can play all those games and it costs you nothing. On top of that, you can use it as a video editing computer like I do occasionally, or just general web browsing and like light Steam games and stuff like that. I mean, it stands to reason. 500 quid is not something most people are going to be able to afford just to play games on. So the point in putting it inside a Windows PC was to multitask it, right? So you could have 2 hard drives attached. The first one is for your work or whatever you use it for, your web browsing, your family computer. But then when you unplug that and you plug the second one in, suddenly it doesn't load any of that stuff, it just goes straight into your games and runs them all at full capacity with the good graphics and everything else. Keep in mind through this next piece of narration that this is not just something that plays games, it's actually a fairly powerful desktop PC, so you can use it for all different kinds of work. Like I say, even video editing or AI applications, like this guy here, you can run this software that undresses people. I'm not suggesting you should, but the value is there in the product if you want. Sticking with our theme of cost, this was like 120, 30 quid or something like that, so this has got hardware that's better than that for games, like to use, you know, it's an actual purpose-built console, but that's, you know, it adds up. Once you buy the games, if you bought like 20 games for it, that's going to run you to 500 quid. So this plus 20 games is actually as expensive as the whole computer over there. And then you've got something like this, a Switch Lite plus all the gear, that is £200 to £300. So that plus a Nintendo membership is well over £500 when you play a few games on it. So if you see what I'm saying, £500 is a lot to pay for one of these, but all of these added together plus a computer is actually fairly good for 500 quid. So that's where I got the price point from. I'm not trying to impress anyone with my, you know, bang for bucks savvy. I'm not one of those kind of guys. This is a perfect purpose-built machine for gaming that also can be useful. So you've got an excuse to go and spend the money. And so that is what you should do if you want one of these things. So like I say, get yourself a mini PC. Don't get one without an AMD internal graphics or a good Intel graphics. It has to be good or it just not be worth it. Spend 300 quid-ish and you're looking good. So yeah, catch up with you then and I'll see you next time.